Hi, my name is Claudia and welcome to my channel. So from the title, you know what this video is about, so stay tuned. We're going to talk about the rise of gated communities in Jamaica. You will see me looking down from time to time because I made notes. I do not want to go off on a tangent as I am prone to. So let's get into it. Gated communities. Gated communities are private residential areas that restrict access using gates, walls, landscaping, or other barriers. They're usually manned by a security guard or key card access. Now, I try to track or trace the origins of gated communities as we know them today, and during my research, I found that gated communities first emerged in the United States of America about the late 1970s into the early 1980s. And gated communities came about because persons were concerned about their safety. Crime was on the increase in many American cities during the Reagan era, and many persons wanted to feel safe and secure, hence gated communities. And of course, living in Jamaica with our current situation, which is a whole nother video, you can understand why many persons are attracted to gated communities. Now, most Jamaican gated communities are manned by security guards, by the popular security companies like Line, Guardsman especially. And you find that some gated communities, which are like the apartment complexes, they will have key card access or you punch in a code to get in. So, why do people buy into gated communities in Jamaica? Why are people attracted to gated communities in Jamaica? Number one, safety. Safety is at the forefront of many persons' minds when they think about buying a home. They want it in a nice area, they want it in a safe area, they want to feel safe and secure. And gated communities offer that, or on the surface. We'll talk more about that as we get into the video. Another reason why persons buy into gated communities: prestige and exclusivity. Not many persons have access to the gated community, and some of these gated communities you have to be earning a certain amount to be able to afford to buy a home in that gated community. The amenities. Many persons are attracted to the amenities that these gated communities provide. Amenities can include, but are not limited to, gyms, pools, walking trails, basketball courts, tennis court, children play areas, etc. And of course, things like stores and commissaries. Many persons are attracted to those amenities. Okay, another reason why persons buy into gated communities is because of the aesthetics. So the community is very uniformed. Some persons, they like the ideal of cookie cutter. They like the idea of having this standard because they believe that this will help to keep the value of the community, keep the value of their investment. Because your home is not just where you live, it's also an investment. Okay, another reason why people may buy into gated communities because they want to stay away from certain people. Let's keep it real. Some people, they don't want to live in areas where you find a lot of persons that display antisocial behavior or behavior that they think is unacceptable. That's me being diplomatic, right? You can talk about that in the comment section. Another reason why persons may be attracted to gated communities, it is because, and let's keep it real here, you have many persons that live an alternative lifestyle, like for example the members of the LGBT community, and they may feel safer in gated communities, right? Because there will be nobody harassing them. They have a little more privacy. What are the pros of buying into a gated community? Number one, security. Security and safety. People want to feel safe, they want to feel secure in their homes. Another reason why persons buy into gated communities is because gated communities, if they're maintained right, they usually hold their value. And of course, certain things are usually maintained in gated communities. Like you have your garbage, regular garbage collection, water, road maintenance, street lights, things of that nature. Because let me tell you, for most of us that do not live in a gated community, you find that you pay your property taxes, but things are not just being done. The roads are in a bad condition. Sometimes garbage collection is irregular. Sometimes the street lights don't work. Sometimes the sidewalks are overgrown. And in gated communities, you don't find many instances of that. So that is another reason why that's another pro. That's a pro of living in a gated community. Also, many persons buy into gated community because of the investment opportunity. Airbnb has become very popular in Jamaica, and more persons are looking into buying property for short-term rental, and gated communities present a good investment opportunity because it usually gated communities have all of these amenities and safety, especially for persons who are coming to Jamaica for the first time and they may have concerns about where can I stay if they're not staying in an all-inclusive hotel. So that's another pro of gated communities as well. But as much as there are positives to gated communities, there are also a lot of negatives that we don't hear being talked about much. And so let's get into it. And I'm reading from my notes. So, when you buy into gated communities, remember you have to pay your property taxes, you have to pay your homeowners association taxes, and you have to pay your mortgage. Now, if you buy into a gated community and say you're experiencing financial issues, you fall on a little rough time, a little rough patch. You may find it hard to pay your property tax, your mortgage, and your homeowners association fees every month. In certain gated communities, if you are not paying your fees on a regular basis, they will actually put your names at the front of the gated communities and say these persons are not in compliance, and then they will put it on your block as well. So it's outside of the gated community and it's outside of your block. And I don't need to name that gated community, but I think some people, if you know which particular gated community I am talking about. And say if you are not paying your fees regularly, you can't go through the main residential gates. You might have to go through the visitors gate, and that might take you a while because there may be a long line of persons, visitors, waiting to get in. You have to join them in that line. So that's a con of gated communities, right? Also, the government is not necessarily, as far as I know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the government is not in charge of street lights, maintaining the roads in gated communities, and the amenities in gated communities, right? That's as far as I know. And some gated communities, they don't get water from National Water Commission. They get water from the developer because the developer may have dug a private well. So that's something you have to keep in mind as well. Another con of buying into gated communities is the restrictions by the homeowners association. So you buy this house. Some persons restrict the color that you can paint the house in. Some HOAs, they restrict how you can do addition. You can do addition to the side but not to the back. Maybe you can do additions to the back. Maybe you can only go up one level. Maybe you can't do any additions at all. Maybe the edges have to be a certain way. The grills have to be an approved design, so forth. So if you don't like those things, you may not like living in a gated community. Another con of living in a gated community is that the amenities can run down over time, and this is because persons may not be paying their HOA fees, or the HOA is not being managed properly. So that is a con of living in a gated community. Also, another con of living in a gated community is that oftentimes gated communities make us complacent. It gives us the illusion of safety, right? You feel safe and secure, and that may not always be the case because criminals can still have access to the gated community no matter what security measures are put in place. It can be something as simple as jumping over the wall of the gated community, or someone letting in the person, and the person can then go around and cause havoc. All right, let's talk about this Airbnb thing. For example, many persons who buy houses in gated communities, they live overseas, and then they use the property for Airbnb. And for Airbnb, some persons may not regulate. They may take any and anybody in the Airbnb. So certain persons come into the community, they stay in the Airbnb, and then when it's time to go, they still have the code. So they come back and they might steal things, they might prey on the neighbors' things. You think it's peace and safety in a gated community, and the criminals are moving into the community and living amongst you, and your neighbors could be the thieves as well. Hello, especially if you live overseas and you have the house empty, neighbors can help themselves to your things, the property manager can help themselves to your things. Persons, living in the community, they can scope out, who lives here, what they have, and they can target you. And there's also an issue that has been emerging where you have scammers, you know, those sort of criminals moving into gated communities as well. So you think you're safe, but the criminals are living among you because they don't want to live out there as well. They want to be safe too. And while they have the safety of the gated community, they will help themselves to your things. So you're still at risk even though you live in a gated community. And you need to keep that in mind. I saw a case in where CNN did a documentary in South Africa, and like Jamaica, South Africa has a high crime rate, and you find that although these persons lived in gated communities, it was still breached and they got robbed. Some people even murdered in the gated communities. So gated communities give you that illusion of safety, and so some persons may get complacent and not secure their property as best as they should, right? So another con of living in gated communities is that there's a hierarchy in gated communities, and that is born out of classism. Yes, we don't like to talk about these things in Jamaica, but classism is an issue in Jamaica, even in gated communities, right? All gated community residents are not treated equally, and depends on your job, your family background, how friendly you are with the homeowners association. You understand? So there's a hierarchy to it. Also, you may be moving into a gated community to escape certain types of people, right? Because it's a boy, we live in a community here, and from what they appear low life or ragamuffin or undesirable people moving in my community. So you move out and then you move into the gated community, you think you're on equal footing in these people, and you get humbled real quick because you find say you are the undesirable and other people in the gated community now. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that in the comment section below, because that's a thing and we need to be real about that. Politics is in everything, even in a gated community. So, you know, you're either in the it crowd in the gated community or you're not in the it crowd. And that's it. Gated communities also help to further this culture of fair, fair everything that is on the outside of the gated community, fair everyday living, fair normal people, fair going into a normal community that is not gated. Many people don't want to talk about it, but yes, sometimes living in a gated community can, increase your paranoia. And not only that, it creates a seclusion, like, oh, we are over there and those are people over there. So you become more gated in you're more secluded, sorry, in your gated community. And you may not want to interact with the rest of the surrounding communities, because you think, I don't need to do this, I have everything that I need here, I don't need to go to the market because the commissary is here, I don't need to go to the community pool because the gated community has a community pool if you live in an upscale community like that. Or I don't have to collaborate with other community development councils because I live in my gated community. I don't have the same issues that other communities in the area have. So this culture of seclusion, this culture of fear, it's not good for social development. And perhaps studies have been done. I don't know of them being done in Jamaica, but perhaps there are studies being done on that. So I leave that to the academics to research and go over. Another thing that gated communities, another con in my opinion, is that it lacks diversity sometimes, so there's no desire to collaborate with other communities or to be a part of the city or community that you live in. So that is a social issue that can come about, may come about, has come about because of the establishment of gated communities. So I have listed some pros and I've talked about some cons as well. If you have any more pros and cons, you can always drop them down in the comment section below. So knowing all of that, right? You still want to buy into your gated community. How do you go about deciding which gated community you want to buy into? Well, first of all, you have to check your pockets. What can you afford? And you have to be real and realistic about that. Am I able to manage this mortgage? Will this, is it in a good location? So understand? So gated communities, price, location, your needs and priorities, and the developer. Not all gated communities are created equally. So a new gated community comes out, check the developer. Go Google searching, find out what the track record is like. Ask around and say, hey, about this developer? What other gated developments have they done? Really research the developer, because the developer can really make or break the gated community. Chemtech, You know, it's a very popular developer in Jamaica. They're building a lot of gated communities. They have built a lot of gated communities in St. Catherine, St. Anne, and in Trelawney, and they have a track record of excellence. So, research the developer before you decide to buy into the gated community. Location. I mentioned this before. Where do you want to live? Do you want to live on the north coast? Do you want to live on the south coast? Do you want somewhere with a sea view? Do you want somewhere with a mountain view? Do you want somewhere close to an urban center? Do you want to live in a rural community? So location is important when you're thinking about the gated community that you want to buy into. Also, checking needs and priorities. Is your main priority just safety and except the amenities? You just want to feel safe when you go into your house at night? Then a gated community without the amenities may not be it for you, especially if you have a busy lifestyle and you won't be able to use the gym, walk, use a pool and those things. Some people literally don't have the time for that because they're professionals and they're working. And so they may not want to pay for those things because to them, they're not using it. So think about that as well. Okay, also another option is it that you want a gated community with the house already built, or you prefer a gated community where you can buy residential lots, or you want to buy into a gated community that's a mix of turnkey houses, or the option for you to have the lot and buy the house. So you have to think about these things as well. And so we have come to the end of the video. So I want you to sound off in the comment section below. Are gated communities for you? Are they not for you? Why would you want to buy into a gated community? Why would you not want to buy into the gated community? Which gated communities do you love? Which gated communities do you have your eye on? What about the social issues that I mentioned? Do you think they are legitimate or do you think they are stretch? Let me know. So until my next video, be well, take care of yourself, and walk good. All right, see you later. Bye.